You're watching TelecomTV's exclusive coverage of the ETSI NFV number 9 meeting here in Prague in the Czech Republic. And I'm joined now by Chris Price, who is chairman of the OPNFV Technical Steering Committee. Chris, thanks for talking to us on TelecomTV. Can you tell me more about the objectives of the OPNFV?
So OPNFV sets out to create a common open source platform for NFV application deployments. We have some concise objectives working with upstream communities. We intend to overcome some of the challenges that vendors and operators alike have had in engaging with organizations like OpenStack, Linux, Open Daylight, and these types of organizations by essentially doing the work in the public view, in an open way, in an open source way, I guess, to bring those communities into what we as vendors and operators would like to be using as a deployment tool for next generation networks.
So your role as chairman of the Technical Steering Committee, what does that involve?
So the Technical Steering Committee is the group elect in the community as a whole that is responsible for the governance and steering of technical content, release dates, and release processes, and generally development methodologies that we use. As the chairman of that committee, I essentially run the weekly meetings and represent that community in events such as this.
It seems that there are an increasing number of bodies out there, some standards organisations, some industry groups that have an interest in NFV, whether to help foster the entirety of the NFV development or just certain aspects of it. How difficult is it to coordinate all those groups and ensure there's no overlap in work and you're maximising everyone's time, because all the vendors and operators involved have limited time for this process to take place?
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest challenges we have today. There is so much activity, so much movement, so many new initiatives coming out. It's very difficult to be able to identify where to invest your time and effort in order to know that you're going to have something at the end. And it's a little bit of a gamble. The industry's in flux. We're going through a change process. We're starting to get a view of where we're going to end up, but still everything's moving as a baseline. From a perspective of a community like OPNFV, it's really not that hard for us to know where we should work, because we have open doors. Everyone is welcome, everyone can show up, everyone can come and join us and help us find the direction we're trying to get to. That doesn't necessarily mean everyone's going to come knocking down our doors and asking, so it's a matter of us reaching out as well. But we can reach out with very open hands and very open hearts, and really try and bring the concepts, the ideas, the directions of those and accommodate that in what we're doing. We're certainly not intending to compete with any groups at all. It's more a question of providing that mechanism where we can bring those concepts together and try and see how they fit together and how they realize the needs that we have moving forwards. I mean, from an operator, a vendor perspective, for instance, like Ericsson, this is one of the challenges we have. Joining a group like OPNFV or one of the larger open source groups provides you with a lot of visibility into what's happening and what's going on, and it's a matter of fitting that back in and understanding how these relate to what you want to do. And in a lot of cases, service providing, vending to service providers is a very complex business. I mean, it's a massive undertaking, and there is no one organization that can encompass all of that. So you do have to, for different parts of your company, engage in different groups.
From the perspective of the traditional telecoms industry, is there a sufficient level of trust of open source and open software? Because to a lot of these people, it's something new and different, and not the accepted norm and way of doing things.
No, it's certainly not the way we've done things traditionally. No, it's a movement away from that. We're in maybe the next stage. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we were running on proprietary operating systems, and now I don't know of many proprietary operating systems that exist. Everyone is using Linux and accepted. It has become the accepted norm. Similarly, for as you move into the network and into what we call the network operating system, or that NFV infrastructure domain, that what we see is the benefits that we've been able to leverage using Linux as a common platform, for instance. Across the industry, we hope to be able to get those same benefits out of a common infrastructure layer. From the perspective of a vendor working in an open source community, I can't give a concise answer. Each community has a different governance. Each community has different licensing and legal aspects associated with it, and they match in different ways to different business units and different business objectives. So it's very difficult to give a concise answer, but as you say, it is a big change. The method of operation, the method of running business, the method of monetizing your investments is changing as we accommodate these changes.
Now, collaboration is very important. Collaboration amongst vendors, collaboration amongst the service providers themselves. As we start to see trials and implementations, are we seeing the service providers collaborate and share best practices for the furtherance of NFV?
Absolutely. I think this is one of the great things we see in these communities that are emerging now. It's not a vendor community anymore. It's a vendor and a service provider community. And vendors come with their ideas and they come with their code and they build functions. They say, we like this, we think this is going to be valuable, and service providers come and they like it too, and then they start to work with it and we get feedback, and this loop is much faster. You don't have to create a product, you don't have to go through lab trials. It's very quick to understand what it is that I want from a service provider perspective, and from a vendor, it's very, very easy then to understand what is it that I need to provide to these service providers.
Great. Chris Price, thanks very much for joining us on TelecomTV.
You're welcome, thank you.